evening, everybody. Today is Monday, January the 22nd, and you are watching FCN Prime News here on the Fifth Column Network. I'm Trezene, editor of FCN1, home of news, politics, and business, and yours news anchor for this evening. Here at FCN Prime News, we aim to bring you your news from a perspective that matters most to you. Without the narratives, without the alternative facts, we bring you the real facts and all the facts. And tonight will be no different as I'll cover crime, current events, both domestically and internationally, which today will include a story about the baby murdering it girl who's heading to trial for her gruesome crime. With that said, I need everybody to go ahead and hit that share button on this FB Live broadcast. It appears right down at the bottom by the comments. Click that to invite your friends and your followers to follow the Fifth Column Network so that they can see all the program that we have for the rest of this week. There is definitely something for everyone, a conversation for everybody to jump in. All right, so for all my crime and law junkies out there, let's get into our news for tonight. First up, we have a white supremacist in a murder-for-hire FBI sting. He's been sentenced to 40 years in prison. Adrian Apodaca was arrested late 2016 in Georgia after driving about 400 miles on the belief that he was about to carry out a murder for hire in exchange for $5,000 and a new identity that would help him hide from law enforcement. It was all a part of an FBI sting. See, when they found Apodaca, the self-described white supremacist, he turned up in South Florida and confided that he had murdered several people, including a guy known as Machete Bob. It wasn't long before one of his new pals ratted him out. Apodaca was living in a trailer behind the clubhouse of the Dirty White Boys Motorcycle Club when the FBI launched a secret operation to figure out if he was just making up stories or if he was a potential danger to the public. The case soon morphed into a full-on sting, with undercover agents offering Apodaca opportunities to take part in a series of increasingly more serious crimes, but also giving him the opportunity to back out. Each time, this guy, who was secretly being recorded, enthusiastically participated. Defense lawyers tried to argue entrapment, and when that didn't work, they tried to argue that he had a hard life, suffered from mental illness, and that Apodaca had since renounced his racist beliefs and membership in the white supremacist skinhead group, the Vinlander Social Club. The judge didn't buy it. Good for the judge for not falling for that white tears defense, and good riddance to this guy. We all know that classic white tears defense, and they better not try it on this next case where a young woman who seemed to be so pretty and so perfect killed, burned, and buried her child, a full-term baby, within hours of giving birth. Brooke Skylar Richardson seemed to live a charmed life that most high school girls would envy. The 18-year-old was a cheerleader who worked at a summer camp for kids with disabilities, and after graduating with honors, the Ohio native planned to attend the University of Cincinnati to study nursing. She was an it girl, if you will, part of the popular crowd, and always so well put together. But you know, here we grab your mugshot. Ain't no pretty pictures here for y'all. But last July, after receiving a tip from a doctor that Richardson may have delivered a stillborn baby, police searched the family's property where they said they found the charred remains, a newborn girl, in Richardson's backyard. They then arrested her for aggravated murder, involuntary manslaughter, child endangerment, tampering with evidence, and gross abuse of a corpse. The motive, investigators allege, was Richardson's fixation with perfection. She and her mother were pretty obsessed with appearances, prosecutors contend. Her attorney has not publicly offered a defense, but reportedly insists she didn't kill the infant. He says, she's a good person, a high honor student. She's never been in any trouble of any kind. Well, looks like I spoke too soon. He's definitely going to try the white tears defense. Hopefully, prosecutors go hard on the details of how this child was brutally murdered within hours of Richardson giving birth, which was 2 days after she attended her senior prom. She did it all for selfish reasons. I'm getting chills right now at how great the storytelling could be for a panel of jurors if the prosecutors do it right. Richardson has entered a not guilty plea to the charges. She stands to be expects to be. Dagnam. Okay, let me just take a drink. Get it together. Okay, there we go. She's going to stand trial later this year. All right. It seems that people believe that burning bodies is a sure way to cover up murder. It isn't, y'all. As a burned body of a Minnesota woman has been found in New Orleans, and now her boyfriend has been charged after being found with burns to his face. Federal prosecutors have charged Joseph Porter, age 25, with kidnapping the woman. Her name is Christina Prodden, age 27, whose burned body was found January 6th, the day after her mother reported her missing. Porter was found with noticeable burns on his face that could be seen in his mugshot when he was arrested. How did they even find this guy? Well, he was being arrested for a theft case, and his husband, yes, Porter's husband, male romantic partner, told investigators that Porter had admitted to him to abducting and killing the woman somewhere in Minnesota and driving her body to New Orleans and burning it in a shipping container. The arrest warrant in the theft case quoted Porter's mother as saying that he told her in December that he was going to find a girl, kidnap this girlfriend, drain her bank accounts, empty her safe deposit box of some guns, and then take her someplace where no one could find her again. These two met in October of 2017, literally 3 and some change months ago, on Facebook and began living together. In early December, Porter allegedly became abusive and was the subject of a court order barring him from having any contact with the girl. Soon after that, she took him back, only to disappear days later. Jeez, man. Folks out here scamming folks with relationships to get money, and people are losing their lives. Please be careful out there, y'all. So, speaking of theft, here's a puzzling crime story for you. A former donut eating champion was arrested in North Carolina last week after police say he broke into a Dunkin' Donuts. Bradley Hardison. He's age 27, made national news in 2014 when he won a police-sponsored donut eating contest in North Carolina. Then he was arrested days later in connection with a series of break-ins in a neighboring county. Sheriff's deputies had seen the media reports of him winning this contest and recognized him as the suspect. He was convicted and received a suspended sentence in connection with those break-ins. This time, Hardison allegedly broke into a safe at a Dunkin' Donuts in November and took an undisclosed amount of dough. Nope. He's now facing a series of felony charges, including breaking and entering, larceny, safe cracking, and probation violations. One day, the powers that be here at FCN are going to ban me from telling these corny jokes or give me a pink slip. All right, enough of that. Let's move into politics and current events. Here we go. All right, because quite a bit did go down this weekend. The Senate voted 81-18 today to end the 3-day-old government shutdown, with Democrats joining Republicans to clear the way for the passage of a short-term spending package that would fund the government only through February the 8th in exchange for a promise from Republican leaders to address the fate of young, undocumented immigrants known as Dreamers. Preventing the shutdown from continuing means that hundreds of thousands of federal workers will be able to avoid furlough, which means the ability to keep bringing home a paycheck. Women's marches happened all around the country this weekend as well, beginning with the annual March for Life in Washington, where President Trump told thousands of anti-abortion marchers, "We are with you all the way." It ended, though, with the Women's March 2.0 demonstrations all over the world, actually celebrating gains for women, but also demanding an end to sexual harassment and assault, as well as an equal seat at the political and economic tables. In the U.S., with marches coming on 1-year anniversary of Trump's inauguration, much of the focus fell on him. Women took the street in great numbers, much greater than last year. We had 200,000 in New York City, 600,000 in Los Angeles, 300,000 in Chicago. Thousands also turned out in Washington, Philadelphia, and Austin. Several speakers urged women to help campaign for women to get into office and then vote themselves into office. In Los Angeles, Hollywood celebrities came out to speak at the podium in support, including Viola Davis, who gave a riveting speech opening her message with the words of Malcolm X and also citing Martin's words on the cost of freedom not being free. She also shared statistics of sexual assault for women and men of color. It's a 9-minute speech and it's worth every single minute. So if you haven't already heard it at length, Google her name and Women's March. You definitely will find it. While I'm on the topic of ending sexual assault, U.S. Congress Representative Patrick Meehan, I hope I'm pronouncing that right, who took a leading role in fighting sexual harassment in Congress, has been found using thousands of dollars of taxpayer money to settle his own sexual misconduct complaints that are against him. The Pennsylvania Republican was accused by a former aide of making unwanted romantic overtures. He does deny the allegations. Nevertheless, over the weekend, he has been removed from the House Ethics Committee, which will investigate his case. All right, let's make a switch to what's happening in business and finance. So, Amazon Go, which has been called the convenience store of the future, opened today in Seattle, Washington. The mini market has no cashiers. It has no cash registers. That's right, 0 checkout lines. None at all. How does it work? Well, kind of looks like a subway station. You walk through a row of gates, you scan your Amazon account to get through those gates, grab what you want, and then walk right on out those same gates. Your Amazon account knows when you pick up an item, and it knows when you put it back.
Oh, we live in the future.
With the future. So when you walk through those gates, your account gets charged.
Not for black people.
Here's the thing.
Shut up.
There are about 3.5 million cashiers in the United States, and this kind of technology would definitely be a threat to those who have earned their living this way. They'd have to move on up to the stockroom. In finance news, it turns out that creating the Bitcoin token requires at least as much electricity as an average home consumes in 2 whole years. For some enthusiasts of the virtual currency, this is a problem. In the virtual currency world, the creation process is called mining. There is no physical digging since Bitcoins are purely digital, but the computer power needed to create each digital token consumes at least as much electricity as the average American household burns through in 2 years, according to figures from Morgan Stanley and Alex DeVries, an economist who tracks energy use in the industry. The total network of computers plugged into the Bitcoin networks consumes as much energy each day as some medium-sized countries, whose country depends on whose estimates you believe, and the network supporting Ethereum, which is the second most valuable virtual currency. It gobbles up another country's worth of electricity each day. The energy consumption of these systems has risen significantly as the prices of the virtual currencies have skyrocketed, leading to a vigorous debate among Bitcoin enthusiasts about burning so much electricity. It's a problem that experts say is bad and will get worse. And the concern that people continue to debate is, where and when will this end? Experts are working on finding a solution and at the same time wondering if it's worth it for a currency that may not truly be worth as much as it's claimed to be.
That sounds like BS.
Yeah, I don't get it, but sound interesting to me. On the international front, Vice President Michael Pence has begun a tour in the Middle East. He's been greeted by some leaders and rejected by others. King Abdullah, the leader of Jordan, is one who did meet with Mike Pence. The leader said he hoped Pence's visit, which was the second leg of his regional visit, would rebuild trust and confidence after the U.S.'s decision last month to name Jerusalem as Israel's capital. Pence has been spreading the message about the need for a 2-state solution being key to peace talks. King Abdullah, who is a U.S. ally, says that Jerusalem is key to peace in the region and that the decision by Washington to move its embassy in Israel from Tel Aviv to Jerusalem does not come because of a comprehensive settlement to the Palestinian-Israeli conflict. Palestinians have made it clear they do not want to meet with Pence during his trip in the Middle East, reiterating that the U.S. can no longer be involved in the peace process following Trump's decision. Pence has announced that the U.S. embassy will be moved by the end of next year, 2019. Speaking of Israel, the nation is being accused of not obliging with international treaties regarding the treatment of refugees, particularly Africans, who are seeking asylum and protection as refugees. They are offering indefinite imprisonment or a one-way ticket. That's the only options that the leader of the Israeli prime minister is offering to African refugees and migrants in the Israel he announced earlier this month. The community is about 40,000 people who were African refugees who Netanyahu called infiltrators. He has said that they better cooperate and leave voluntarily, respectably, humanely, legally, or it will have to use other tools at its disposal that are also according to the law. The decision to offer imprisonment or relocation to a third country, presumably Rwanda or Uganda, though both countries deny having an agreement with Israel, has outraged human rights groups and the United Nations. According to Jerry Simpson, an associate refugee director at the Human Rights Watch, Israel has had a long history of trying to dodge its refugee protection duties. Instead of jailing them, Israel should be fair in identifying and protecting refugees among them. Israel is a party to the 1951 Refugee Convention. Nevertheless, acquiring refugee status in Israel is nearly impossible. Only 200 people have been given refugee status since 1948, and the African Refugee Development Center says that Israel recognizes fewer than 1% of refugee claims. Thousands languish in jails in Israel under the policy as they look to preserving Jewish nature of their state. As we get ready to hear the latest sports news from JCO, one last story for you all. Colin Kaepernick entered the home stretch of his $1 million pledge last week. The former San Francisco 49ers quarterback announced Thursday that his foundation would give $10,000 to the Advancement Project as a part of his commitment to donate $1 million to the organizations working in oppressed communities. The Advancement Project describes itself as a multiracial civil rights organization, but the group is best known for promoting voting rights and helping oppressed communities with investigations and reviewing inactive voters and voter fraud. All right, with that, it's the end of Prime News for me. We're going to send it right on over to JCO for the latest in sports news.
Hey everybody, it's JCO. You can follow me at JCOIsIt. And now for the top story from our Prime News Sports Desk. USA Olympics. We discussed this on this past weekend, Sunday edition. In the wake of the Dr. Larry Nassar accusations and conviction, he's already going to jail for about 60 years and facing about 100 more. The USA Gymnastics has had a few resignations. Apparently, seen on your left, former chairman Steve Penny resigned back in March. What's ironic is, as you see in the middle, it is Chairman Paul Perea and also Treasurer Bitsy Kelly were on the committee that had to decide whether or not to oust Penny. Well, now they are resigning. What's interesting, USA Gymnastics is located in the city of Indianapolis, and an Indianapolis attorney back in March called for the U.S. Olympic Committee to completely shut down this organization and go elsewhere for their selection process. This did not happen, and now these chairmen and other board members are resigning. So again, this hashtag complicity continues, but at least they're finally cleaning house. Again, I call for the Olympic Committee to completely shut this down. I feel like the World Olympic Committee should ban the U.S. gymnastics team until they can get it together and figure out how they're going to protect these young ladies, because drugs are obviously not the worst thing in the world that's going on. In our next story, Spurs, Kawhi Leonard. Apparently, according to Adrian Wojciechowski from ESPN, according to sources that he has, the Spurs and Kawhi Leonard have some friction, let's say. Apparently, Leonard's injury, which is similar to an injury that Tony Parker had, He's going to the same trainer that miraculously helped Parker get back on his feet. Leonard's rehab is not going as well. He's frustrated. The Spurs are angry. This is all reported, okay? There is no validation. General Manager R.C. Buford has denied this reports. We know that the Spurs is an organization that's pretty tight-lipped. We also know that historically, the Spurs is an organization that takes care of their players, that gets along with their players. This story seems a little fishy to me. It seems like they're reaching. I spoke with the Reggie Mathis earlier. He feels like there's validity to the story. You will see me demolish him in a conversation and argument over this and other subjects. And yes, because I am on right now and he is not, I get to talk all the shit in the world. Go ahead and comment, Reg. It'll probably come up after I've moved on to my next story, which I'm doing right now. And final story, guess what, guys? Surprise. You're not going to believe what happened in the world of sports yesterday. You will not believe this. Okay, you will believe this. The Patriots won. Like I said they would. So guess what? Patriots advanced to the Super Bowl. I don't have to watch it. I can continue boycotting. The Philadelphia Eagles also made it, so they will be advancing to the Super Bowl. They won their respective conference championships on Sunday. They met in Super Bowl 39, where the Patriots won 24-21. History does repeat itself. History will repeat itself. The Patriots are going to win. There's nothing interesting. There's nothing new in football. So guess what you need to do? Watch more basketball. We get to talk about Kawhi Leonard. We're going to talk about the recent firing of Jason Kidd from Milwaukee Bucks. What? But the Bucks are good.
Are you pitching your own program?
What happened? I am pitching my own program because this is a shitty news day. So I got nothing else to talk about but Thursday. True Baller Thursday. J. Cole is it. 7:30 live after Prime News.
He's a sham.
Well, I will talk all things NBA. Pre-game the NBA on TNT. Exciting games coming up this week. We're going to talk about the NBA, what happened. Like I said, things that I mentioned, things that I didn't. I got haters in the building. But hey, that's all right, because I'm going to pump everybody else. Tomorrow, the best show of the week, and I say this because Black Lightning was a, for me, surprise hit. I thought it was going to be good, but it was way better than I thought. When asked, I said it was going to be a 3 out of 5. It was closer to a 5 out of 5 for their season premiere. So the Revolution will be discussing Black Lightning. He might let me come on and talk about it. I don't know. After this, after this little spiel, I might just be TD, and who knows. And on Wednesday, Trezene will be hosting the pregame show for American Crime Story. You guys want to watch that? It's fascinating material. That's all for tonight. We're gonna go back to Trezene on the news desk to close it out because I don't deserve to close out this show.
You don't deserve the whole segment right now. Kick it back to Trezene.
I just did.
Okay, man, you see that? It's a fascinating story. Okay, it actually is American Crime Story. I finally did get to watch the episode last night. It was better than I expected. Follow the Fifth Column Network on Facebook, the Fifth Column Network. Follow us on Twitter, FCN_Prime. Same thing on Instagram, FCN_Prime. We do have 5 channels here at the Fifth Column Network, so you can follow all these channels on Facebook and Instagram and Twitter. It's all FCN_1 through 5, obviously. And you can find us there as we're posting stuff all the time. You can find me on the interwebs at Trezene. I was going to promote our shows for tomorrow, but he already did that. So with that, I'm Trezene. Oh, my God.
Expertly did it.
Thank y'all for watching FCN Prime News on the Fifth Column Network. We love y'all. Thank y'all for always watching.
When can they watch the next episode of Prime News?
They can watch it on Thursday at 7 p.m.
Okay.
What? I'll see y'all later. Night, y'all. Night.